Hello, hello. It's Eileen here, and I've got a quick update that I wanted to be sure to share with you before we dive into today's episode. The Resilience Room membership community is going to open its doors for new members Monday, July 28th through Friday, August 1st. If you've been thinking of joining us and want to be sure to be notified when we open, I want to encourage you to join the waitlist. You can do that at go.eileendivine.com/resilience room. That's go.eileendivine.com/resilience room. We only open our doors for new members a few times per year, so if you've been thinking about joining, this is a great time for you to do that. We would love nothing more than to welcome you into our amazing community. So again, you can find all the details and join the waitlist at go.eileendivine.com/resilience room. Okay, on to the episode. Resilience is something that can grow stronger over time with daily practice and attention. It becomes sturdier with practice, and every single one of us is capable of building it. So that's the great news for all of us. It is accessible to us, but we have to build it every single day, work on cultivating it. Hi there, and welcome to the Brain First Parenting Podcast. I'm your host, Eileen Devine, and I am a therapist, parent coach, and educator who supports parents that are raising children, teens, and young adults with brain-based differences and challenging behavioral symptoms. If you are a parent or caregiver of a child who has intense, confusing, relentless, or sometimes even scary behaviors, you are in the right place, and I am so glad you're here. Let's get started. Hello, and welcome back to the Brain First Parenting Podcast. I am your host, Eileen Devine, therapist, parent coach, and also parent of a teen with neurobehavioral challenges. And as many of you know, for the last 6 years or so, I've run a membership community. And it is, of course, for parents just like you and I who all have kids, teens, young adults with neurobehavioral conditions. And it is called the Resilience Room. That was intentional. And inside our 4 virtual walls, we talk quite a bit about what it means to be resilient. And so not too long ago, we were having a discussion in one of our live Zoom meetups, and it was about how to remain resilient when faced with really devastatingly hard behavioral symptoms from your child. And in this particular case, it was a parent, I think of a middle schooler, and she was describing some pretty aggressive and verbally abusive behaviors. And throughout this conversation, we kept circling back to what does it mean to be resilient? And one member asked something along the lines of, is resilience growing a thicker skin? Like not letting these things get to me and not taking it personally? Is that what it means to be a more resilient parent? Is that what I need to be working on? Basically growing a thicker skin? And it was such a great question because that's what so many of us are taught and what we're led to believe, that to be resilient is to toughen up, to power through, and to simply get over it, right? Move on. But the reality is that resilience is actually none of those things. And it is imperative that as parents of kids with really intense needs and challenging behavioral symptoms, you understand what resilience actually is and how to cultivate it every single day, right? Drops in the bucket every single day. The reason it's so imperative is because resilience is what allows us to thrive, right? Physically, emotionally, mentally. And yes, I mean thrive even in the midst of the struggles that you may be experiencing within your home right now. It allows us to move forward and to parent our kids differently in the way they require, it allows us to move through grief and sadness towards hope and reimagining what our parenting experience might hold for us. Resilience is about having more peace and joy and confidence and contentment within ourselves and then also in our parenting experience. So that sounds amazing, right? I mean, I think so. And at the same time, I'm also guessing that for some of you, it sounds unattainable. And if that's the case for you, that's okay. And it's understandable given what you've been through or what you're currently going through. I still want to encourage you to stay with me through this episode because after working with so many parents who are in some, awful situations, I've seen that it is possible. And I want that for you too. Okay, so first of all, I think we need to clarify exactly what resilience is and what it is not because there are so many misconceptions about this. Resilience is not a character trait or a personal characteristic that you either have or you don't, right? It's not, either you were raised to be a resilient person or you weren't, and that's the end of the story. It's no longer available to you as an adult. That is not true, thank goodness, right? Resilience is something that can grow stronger over time with daily practice and attention. It becomes sturdier with practice, and every single one of us is capable of building it. So that's the great news for all of us. It is accessible to us, but we have to build it every single day, work on cultivating it. Resilience is not about grit or simply surviving the day or growing thicker skin. That approach to life, I'm just going to bulldoze my way through this. I will rest on the other side of this, which rarely happens. That will chip away at your resilience faster than almost anything. Okay? Resilience is actually about prioritizing rest when you are able to, slowing down as you are able to, staying soft and remaining open, whatever that means for you. All of that invites curiosity about what's happening within you, what's happening with your child, and what's happening around you, versus being stuck in a cycle of reacting. Resilience is knowing that you have choices, even in the hardest of moments. Many parents I've worked with have been in this survival-based, soldiering on mode for years, right? The conflict and the chaos and the battles have been nearly constant in their home for many, many years. So if that has been your experience, know that it will take some time to be able to move out of that, for your nervous system to heal and to settle, and for a different pattern to emerge. And you may need some support to get there, right? So ideally, getting support that matches the intensity of your situation. And maybe that's through community support, maybe that's through individual support. But I want you to remember that this is a marathon, right? It is not a sprint. You didn't get to this place of burnout or feeling very low on resilience overnight. So it will take some time to heal, but it is possible. And I can tell you, I would not do this work with parents if it wasn't possible. Resilience is about honoring your response to the reality of your current situation. So what I mean by that is it's in those moments where you are completely overwhelmed, or maybe you're anxious, maybe you're resentful, or just so sad. It's honoring the appropriateness of that response. It's flooding yourself with self-compassion in those moments instead of just denying what you're feeling or shaming yourself for having those really raw feelings. I often say to parents, this is as hard as you think it is. So of course you thought that, or of course you feel that way. That makes total sense to me, given what you are going through. Honoring your response to the reality of that situation. When we are resilient, we have more capacity to meet the demands of the moment. We have more confidence that we can actually manage the challenges of that moment, the challenges that this unique parenting experience throws our way. And this, again, it happens over time. Now, you may not currently have the resilience to manage what you're dealing with on a daily basis, which is one of the reasons why things are so hard. And that's when we see parents in deep burnout and caregiver fatigue, experiencing depression and anxiety, feeling incredibly isolated. And so if that's where you are right now, I want to encourage you to really ask yourselves, where can you find the support that you so desperately need for your survival and the support that you deserve? Like, who is that friend that you know would be there for you, but you've been hesitant to reach out to them and share with them just how hard things have been? And where are your people? Meaning those who truly get it, who truly understand your day-to-day experience of raising a very complex child. And if you don't have those people and you need community, the Resilience Room is a great option to explore. I know I'm biased, but they are really the loveliest people, and we would love to welcome you with open arms. Beyond community, which is a big piece of this, what are other smaller, more manageable steps that you can take to build your resilience? Again, drops in the bucket, right? Each and every day. So maybe that's where we'll wrap this episode up. We'll wrap up with some thoughts on how to build resilience each day. So if you don't know where to start, I'm going to give you 3 quick ideas on where to begin. They're quick, they're manageable, they can be done in moments a day. There's so much more, though, than this that's available to you. So this is by no means where I want you to stop. This is just to get you started, and then hopefully you'll have other things that come to mind that you can do in moments a day that will help to build your resilience as time goes on. So for today's episode, we'll just hit on these 3 biggies, getting the most bang for your buck, so to speak. All of them have the power to heal your nervous system and build your resilience. I will note that being in connection with others, getting your co-regulation needs met, that is absolutely at the top of my list of suggestions, but I've already mentioned that. We've already talked about that. So these are the next 3. All right, the first is practicing self-compassion. So what does this look like in practice? It looks like talking kindly to yourself. Talk to yourself like you'd talk to the person you love most on this earth if they came to you with the same situation, with so much grief and sadness and suffering. You would not judge them. You would see that as part of our human condition, and you would meet them with love and with empathy. I want you to give that to yourself. Notice your inner critic and find ways to quiet them with self-compassion practices. Notice where that shame spiral begins and take steps to stop that spiral, again, using self-compassion practices. So if you're not familiar with Kristen Neff, she is a self-compassion researcher, and she has lots of great free resources on self-compassion on her website. So I'll be sure to link to that in the show notes. I would highly recommend you check that out. All right, the second is making some type of movement part of your daily practice. And this doesn't need to be hard, vigorous exercise, right? So although if you're doing that, then you've got this covered. That definitely works, definitely checks the box. But it doesn't have to be that way, right? It can be gentle stretching. It can be going for a walk. It can be joyful movement like dancing. I just want you to move, right? Every single day. What is some movement that you can do that is manageable, even if it's moments a day? Just begin there. The third is practicing breath work. So my encouragement to you would be to find a free app, practice using the breathwork exercises that it teaches you for free on this app. Practice those throughout your day. And this will help that breathwork become more automatic, especially during those challenging moments when you really need some support to down-regulate your nervous system. All right, my final reminder is that resilience is something that is accessible to all of us. And even small steps towards building resilience are steps forward. So those drops in the bucket, they really, truly do add up. Know that I'm here. I'm rooting for you as you begin and take some of these steps. Thanks for being here. And until next time, take care. Hey, if you found today's episode helpful in any way, I'd like to ask a quick favor of you. And that is that you take just a moment to share this episode on Instagram or Facebook, the two places where I hang out most. By doing this, you will help me reach more parents who are really needing reassurance that they are not alone and that there is information out there that can help their family heal. Thanks so much in joining me in my efforts to reach them and support them. It is so appreciated.